hoping to find out where the white Africans are. We drill down the African countries with the most noteworthy convergence of white individuals. The abundance of the African continent has drawn various groups of Europeans and, surprisingly, a few Asians to its shores. Very few individuals know, however, there are a large number of white Africans. Today, there is a little populace of white Africans who are the relatives of the Portuguese, Dutch, English, Italian, Spanish, French and, surprisingly, a couple of South Americans who initially chose Africa. Welcome back to the Top Trendy Info channel. If it's your first time here, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for fast-hand info as they happen. These are the 15 African nations with the highest number of white people. 15. Ghana, 20,900. Ghana was one of the primary sources of slaves for the European ranches in the Caribbean. During the time of subjection, numerous Europeans came to Ghana. After bondage ended, the English acquired control. They ruled Ghana until the nation gained its freedom in 1957. During this time, numerous Britons came to get comfortable the country. Ghana's ongoing white populace of 20,900 are relatives of the English colonizers. 14. Mauritius, 37,000. The island of Mauritius was first colonized by the Dutch, then, at that point, it changed hands to France and in conclusion to the UK. The white population, notwithstanding, comprises for the most part of French relatives with few English relatives. The first French pioneers were slave owners. They came to Mauritius to profit from the benefit produced by sugar estates. 13. Equatorial Guinea, 2000. Spanish Equatoguinean. The white population of Central Guinea is made of people who are the relatives of the country's Spanish colonizers. The Spanish came as brief estate owners. Some got back to Spanish, yet there were the people who remained. The number of inhabitants in white populace expanded after Masine Gama Biogo was toppled. 12. Zimbabwe, 28,732. Zimbabwe, early southern Rhodesia, was distinguished as an area for English settlement. Over the 19th and 20th century, numerous Europeans relocated into Zimbabwe. They drove away the blacks and assumed command over the political and financial undertakings of the early settlement. The Europeans, notwithstanding, lost their power after the nation acquired its independence. They then, at that point, got back to their origin nations. The white population of Zimbabwe comprises of relatives of the rare sorts of people who remain. 11. Swaziland, 41,000. The Portuguese seem to have gotten around much. The white population of Swaziland consists of descendants of Portuguese who originally settled in the country. Persons of British descent are also a part of the population, as Swaziland was once a British protectorate. 10. Zambia, 40,000. Zambia, like Zimbabwe, was colonized by the English. During this time of colonization, numerous Europeans came to get settlement in Zambia. Unlike Zimbabwe, they couldn't apply a lot of effect on the general public as their population had been tiny. Today, the 40,000 Europeans are the relatives of the assessed 70,000 Britons who stayed in the country after freedom. 9. Mozambique, 82,600. Mozambique is a previous state of Portugal. The Portuguese originally settled settlements in the 16th century. The occupants of the nation filled in as a source of work for the Portuguese manors in Latin America. The population expanded step by step throughout the 100 years as additional Portuguese nationals moved from Portugal. The ongoing white populace are relatives of the first Portuguese pilgrims. 8. Kenya, 67,000. In the 1880s, Kenya came under the rule of the United Kingdom. At first, a number of Europeans settled in Kenya in hopes of creating fortunes. This, however, did not prevail for long. In 1903, the British government encouraged Britons to settle in Kenya by offering land leases and tax exemptions. Kenya's present white population consists of descendants of the white settlers who initially came to Kenya. 7. Botswana, 63,834. The white people of Botswana comprises 3% of the nation's population. A portion of the Dutchmen that at first got comfortable South Africa went over into Botswana to escape from English colonialism. A few Britons trailed closely behind them, and thus, the ongoing white populace is relatives of the Dutch ranchers and Britons who came over. 6. Morocco, 100,000. The French and Spanish governed Morocco from 1912 to 1956. During this time, a large number of French, Spanish, and European Christians came to get comfortable Morocco. After the nation accepted their freedom left. Today the 0.3% of white Moroccans are relatives of the people who remained. 5. Tunisia, 100,000. The white population of Tunisia is descendants of the Italians and French that initially settled in the country. Italians came to Tunisia at the beginning of the 19th century and have since set up communities. France colonized Tunisia in 1881. French nationals immigrated to Tunisia and the Italians kept coming, together they make up Tunisia's white population. 4. Namibia, 154,000. In the journey to get away from English rule, a few Dutch ranchers likewise advanced over into Namibia. Namibia later went under South Africa's standard and huge number of Dutch ranchers tracked down their direction into Namibia. They needed to guarantee the prolific farming area and to get their portion of the country's normal assets. The 154,000 white Namibians, Basters, are relatives. 3. Madagascar, 120,000. French, wanting a piece of the pie that was Africa, negotiated for parts of Madagascar until they gained control of the whole island. With this colonization came settlers. The current white population of Madagascar descends from these French settlers. 2. Angola, 220,000. Angola is a previous province of Portugal. In 1492, the Portuguese came, they saw, and they colonized. Subsequently, numerous Portuguese came to Angola and settled. Today they make up a critical part of the white populace. Russians, Posts, Ukrainians and white Brazilians likewise make up this populace. 1. South Africa, 4,602,000. At 4,602,000, South Africa has the highest population of white people in Africa. In 1652, the first Dutch ship landed on the shores of the Cape of Good Hope. The Dutchmen aboard cleared the land for the cultivation and built settlements. French Huguenots later increased the white population. These early settlers are the ancestors of the Afrikaans that now make up 8.7% of South Africa's population. Kindly keep following for more updates. Tell us what you think about this on the comments section and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.